Buying tickets to sports and concerts can be complicated, but there is a better way to buy with SeatGeek. SeatGeek is the smartest, easiest way to get tickets to every type of live event. And right now, get $20 off your first purchase. Just download the SeatGeek app and enter promo code WINGO today.
4 days away. Glad you're with us on Golic and Wingo, ESPN Radio and ESPN2, presented by Progressive Insurance. All phone guests join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Stugotz coming up a little later this hour, Adam Schefter, and then Carlos Boozer in the 9:30 time slot.
How bad is it? It's my daughter Sydney's birthday today, and one of the first texts I got from her was, "I missed you wishing me a happy birthday. Can you do it all over again?" No, Sid. Your mother will tape what we did and we'll send it to you.
There you go.
But happy birthday. I love you. She's 23 today. And as a gift, I said she could use my credit card to buy a present. And I said $50 for the limit.
Porsche.
How much trouble am I in when all I got as a response from her was ha, ha, ha.
She's right. And by the way, just listen to the podcast.
Yeah.
You can find
there you go. Good point.
We got it all there.
Good call.
Glad you're with us. Stugotz coming up in just a couple of seconds. Here's what's trending right now. The Bulls beat the Magic, 112-94. The Chicago's won 7 straight games after a 3-20 start.
3-20 start. And a lot of it is Nikola Mirotic, who Bobby Portis basically, the old movie term, rearranged his face.
Yeah, a bad break.
Yeah, he really did.
Literally broke his face.
Nikola had to miss a ton of time because of that. He's come back, and they're 7-0 when he's been back. He's averaging over 19 points a game, 52% shooting from the floor, 49% from three, over 7.5 rebounds per game. They take on the Cavaliers in Cleveland tonight, but they're playing extremely well since he's come back from that. Good for him. I mean, obviously it was fights amongst teammates happen.
Yes.
Punching
in face, breaking fractures, not really happens a lot.
Not many times you miss that much time because of a fight, but in this case, Mirotic did and comes back and playing well for him.
Absolutely. And we've talked a little bit about the G League in the NBA, which used to be the D League in the NBA.
Right.
How about this? A Class D basketball game in Maine got called after the ball got stuck behind a wood stove. Hold on a minute. From the New Maine News, a loose ball caused the ball to travel out of bounds, where it became lodged between the wall and the gym's wood stove. The Greenville High School wood attendant, Jerry Chase, said the stove was almost too hot to go near then. Ball didn't stand a chance. The stove was testifying, Chase said, referring to the strong draft being pulled by the expertly built and maintained fire inside.
I don't even know where to go with that.
Call a game. Now, is the ball on fire now? Is that what I'm trying to figure out?
I can't imagine the ball survived that.
I don't know what a stove was testifying mean, but it has something to do with, I guess, the strong draft. I like a good fire. I can build a good fire.
But you're not going to get that ball behind the stove.
And I don't know what it means when it was testifying. I don't understand that.
I don't either.
Okay. By the way, Christmas 4 days away. Trending now on Twitter in the U.S. right now, the hashtag my 4-word Christmas nightmare. Some examples. That wasn't eggnog. Batteries not included. My in-laws won't leave. Some assembly required.
Okay, the ones that get me the most are batteries are not included.
Yeah.
Because your sweater tomorrow that you're going to wear.
Yeah.
And the first thing when I opened it to lay it out, I saw needs 3 AA batteries not included.
You want me to bring those in?
No. They'll be.
I'm hoping that I'll say I'll bring them in, so you won't bring them in, and I'll say I forgot.
No. There's plenty of like remotes around here with TVs. I'll just take it out of one of the remotes.
Great.
So batteries are not included and some assembly required. Now, again, it said my 4-word Christmas nightmare. Let's do this. Some assembly required is 3 words, but somehow that made it in. So I hated that one too because I was not good at assembly.
Okay. All right. So we'll see what happens here. We'll talk about something in the end. That was me. Thank you. At this point, I'm not sure that I am.
Just horrific.
We'll get to somebody
tweeted in too. Somebody tweeted in, Golic and Wingo is awesome. Trey Wingo is much better than I expected.
Well,
you just took a step back, didn't you?
Thanks, Dad.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. They say if you reach one person, we're excited.
And now you're not turning your mic on, so you're taking some steps back.
I'm going to wear a sweater. We'll get into an NFL team that is favored that probably wishes they weren't just a little bit, but we're going to welcome in Stugotz.
Yes.
The Dan Le Batard Show with Stugotz on ESPN Radio. Okay, we'll throw this out there. Was named to the Pilgrim League's All-Star lacrosse team in 1992.
Oh,
with a
big
scoring
lacrosse
average
guy, yes.
of 5.8 per game. Stu, I didn't know you were that much of a prolific scorer when you played.
It's a motto I've lived by my entire life. Set the bar really low, and there's a good chance you'll exceed expectations. So I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
I'm proud that people think
You're right, man. Every day I'm walking down the hall to do NFL Live, somebody says, have a good show, and I'm just trying not to be terrible, which means I can be better the next day. and it's a good. We're with you. We are simpatico there, Stugotz.
Stu, I'm just, in seeing you now and just thinking of you at a younger age, I can't fathom that you were good enough, and I don't mean this in a mean way. It may sound this way.
Right.
I think it's sounding that way already.
Yeah. I can't
fathom. It already feels mean, Mike. I can tell you that. It already feels mean, okay?
I don't feel like you were the athlete to be a midi. Were you an attackman?
I played midi in high school, Mike, but that is solid evaluation with the limited knowledge you have of me. I played attack in college. And I was a lefty, Mike. So if you know lacrosse at all, I got the sweet spot on the fast breaks, and that's how a lot of attackmen scored their goals. So that's why I had so many goals. I didn't do anything. I just stood in the same place and waited for someone to throw me the ball. And when they did, I was right in front of the cage, and it was one-on-one, me and the goalie. And I would say, 30-40% of the time I would score a goal.
Hey, look, that's just smart planning on your part.
There you go.
I mean, that's just
Thank you. Yes.
That's just you thinking one step ahead, because middies are miserable. All they do is run the entire game.
Correct.
So, if they want to do that, hey, good for you. Listen, less exertion, more results. I'm with you, brother.
You know what we're doing? As attackmen, what we're doing, it's kind of like having three guys just cherry-picking basketball and not go back and play defense. Yeah. We're just waiting. The middies who are doing all the work, running up and down the field, playing offense and defense, the attack, we're just waiting under the basket for them to get us the ball. That's essentially what we do.
Essentially, it's like being completely offsides in hockey the entire time. That's essentially what being an attackman is, right?
Very true.
You can't be ahead of the puck. But in lacrosse, you're always ahead of the ball. You're just there waiting for them to bring you the ball. Speaking of the ball, you guys had a little bit of a fun time with Major League Baseball Commissioner Rob Manfred on the show yesterday. What did you take out of the exchanges that you guys had over whether or not he knew what the Jeter plan was going into the ownership group?
It's a tricky one, right? I'm not certain I would not have handled it the exact way that Rob Manfred handled it. But after our interview with Rob Manfred, the Miami Herald and Barry Jackson reported that whatever Rob Manfred was telling Dan and I, and that's the fact that he did not see this business plan, did not see the fact that they were going to slash payroll, once they owned the team. Sources, texted into the Miami Herald, saying, no, Rob Manfred absolutely knew their business model, their business plan. So just kind of left with a bad taste in their mouth because, guys, if what Rob Manfred said was true, then someone needs to explain to me how, especially in this market where they've been burned so many times, how Derek Jeter, with no experience running a baseball team or owning a baseball team, how he was approved as one of the Marlins' new owners, along with Warner, how these guys were approved without telling Commissioner Manfred their 100-day plan. This is our business model. This is what we're going to do. Because if I'm Rob Manfred, I'm saying, hey, especially in this market, this fan base has been burned so many times, 3 or 4 times now. I have to keep a close eye on whoever's going to be the new owner because I don't want the fan base to have to go through this again. You would think that Rob Manfred would do that and demand that of Derek Jeter and the new ownership group. And what he is saying is he did not. And that is shocking to me. It was shocking to Dan. And it's shocking to the people of South Florida. It really is.
I'm just trying to get to the bottom of something, Stu. There was this Derek Jeter calling it Project Wolverine. Didn't the league know that they were going to slash payroll? They may not have known, as I think they put it, the X's and O's, but did they not know? Doesn't each group have to say basically what their overall plan is? And this group's plan was, we're going to slash payroll to $85 to $90 million. Now, if you hear something like that, is that enough for baseball to hear? And I guess the second question along that would be, did any of the ownership groups that were bidding have a plan that said, oh yeah, we're going to increase payroll and pay more money out there and try and win, when it seemed like the fiscal thing to do right now is to go back before you go forward?
Yeah, and listen, all the blame doesn't go towards the new ownership group, Mike. They're clearly cleaning up a mess left by the last ownership group. And so we understand that. And so to answer your question, I don't think, according to what we're hearing and according to Rob Manfred, I don't think any of the business models from any of the ownership groups that were put in front of Rob Manfred, I don't think any of them had the Marlins increasing payroll. I think all of them had them slashing payroll because they had to. But What's bothersome about all of this, it appears that what's more important to Rob Manfred and Major League Baseball, I'm not saying it's the case, it's just the way this thing appears. It appears that getting the $1.2 billion for the Marlins was more important than what these guys were going to do once the Marlins owned the team. I think you have to keep a particular close eye when it comes to this market. That's very important. This wasn't the sale of the Yankees or the Red Sox or the Cubs or the White Sox or the Angels or a team like that who, regardless of who owns the team, they're going to spend a lot of money because they can, because they have the money to spend. This is the Marlins. This is the team and a fan base that has zero trust in Major League Baseball, zero trust in any ownership group. If you're Major League Baseball, you have to do your best to get an ownership group in here who's not going to trade the reigning MVP at the age of 27. You have to. You just have to.
Yeah, Stugotz with us from the Dan Lebertard Show with Stugotz. It comes up after we're done on Golic and Wingo. And that's the thing here that I think everybody understands is this is a lather, rinse, repeat for the Marlins, really the third time over, and really since the last rebuild, you've now traded away Miguel Cabrera and his replacement in Giancarlo Stanton. But do you guys take any hope down there to what Manfred said, which is we've seen this happen? I mean, it was in 2014 where the Astros finished 22 games under 500, and they went through this, and then lo and behold, they found a way to win the World Series again. And we've seen the model, as he alluded to in the interview with you guys, actually come out ahead again, but it's just different for you guys because you've lived through this too many times.
Right, and the Astros chose to do it that way, and they did it well. I mean, you have to hit on Jose Altuve, you have to hit on George Springer, you have to hit on Carlos Correa in order for that to work out. Listen, Trey, it's a tough one, man. It's tough for the Marlin fan base to trust. You're right, okay? What you're saying is right. Like, we probably should give them the benefit of the doubt and should give them some time, and let's see how their plan kind of plays out here. But because it's this fan base and because they've been burned so many times, they have a hard time trusting Major League Baseball, and they have a hard time trusting any ownership group, even one that, you know, has Derek Jeter, a baseball legend, a Yankee legend, involved in their ownership group. They just have a hard time, and I don't blame them, by the way. They have a hard time trusting when you consider that Wayne Huizenga bought the team, won a World Series, sold the team. Jeffrey Loria bought the team, won a World Series, then tore that team down and now sold the team. And then they got a stadium built, and that's the big part of this. A ballpark was built in the city of Miami, and some of it on the heels of tax-paying dollars from the people down here in Miami, in Dade County. And the promise was, not in writing, but there was a promise that, hey, we're going to remain relevant and we're going to spend the necessary amount of money to keep this team good and to keep this team relevant, and that clearly is not going to be the case moving forward. So, yeah, I guess we should give them some time to see if their plan plays out, but I'm just telling you, Trey, we have a hard time trusting any ownership group down here just based on recent history.
Listen, and we can absolutely see the fans down there being mad, but just you saying, and I think that was the case, that there was no ownership group that was going to say, oh, yeah, we're going to spend even more money. Those are just two separate entities that are going to butt heads, so it's going to be up to the fans again. It's their choice whether they want to spend money and go to the ballpark or wait and see how this thing turns out. One other quick thing, because we know we want to flip the switch here a little bit. You guys have Lane Kiffin on a lot. He's a fun guest to have on. Signs the 10-year deal at FAU. They just smoke Akron in the bowl game. Which bowl game? Trey, go ahead.
That was the Cheribundi Tart Cherry Juice Boca Raton Bowl.
There you go.
It's delicious, nutritious. It helps you recover from workouts.
Yes, he is a pro.
You are a pro, Trey. You are a pro, because I butchered that thing about 5 times the other day in the air.
Oh, Trey is not going to butcher that thing, let me tell you.
No, the Cheribundi Tart Cherry Juice Boca Raton Bowl? No way.
Yes,
no chance, no how.
So you have Lane. He signs a 10-year deal. We did over-under on the show yesterday. Over-under was a year and a half that Lane Kiffin stays at FAU. I say 2 years, maybe tops, 3 tops. He's gone.
Wow. I'd go under there. I think he's going to do one more year at FAU and then he's gone. Mike, you brought up a good point the other day on the air. Unless the college football playoff gets expanded out to maybe, like 32 teams, then FAU might have a chance to get in if they run the table and everything else goes right. But Mike, you brought up a great point. Lane Kiffin's a smart guy. Lane Kiffin wants to be at the Tennessees of the world. He wants to be at the USCs of the world. I'm not saying he's not enjoying his time in Boca Raton with FAU, because he is. Clearly he is. But I would think that Lane Kiffin's going to have another big year next year. And I think one of these big universities is going to sign Lane Kiffin to be their head coach. So I would take the under on 1 year and a half. What's interesting to me is I wonder if the Lane Kiffin that we're experiencing right now at FAU can and will be the same Lane Kiffin if he decides to go to, I don't know, I'm just throwing out schools here. If he decides to go to one of the Power 5 conferences, if he decides to go to a Wisconsin, to a Michigan or something like that, can Lane Kiffin still be the Lane Kiffin? But Mike, your larger point's a good one. Lane knows he can never get to the Final Four coaching at FAU. He knows he needs to get himself back to a Power 5 conference.
All right, Stugotz, we know we want to do a little switcheroo here. Because Trey is the new one on the show here. We're just finishing up our first month together on Golic and Wingo. But Stu, you want to ask Trey some questions.
I do, yeah. I want the audience to try, and I want to get to know Trey a little bit better, but not too well, Trey. Like, I don't want you expanding too much. I'm not certain I want to get to know you that well yet.
We're good there. We're good there.
Okay, we're early on in the relationship here. So I have some questions. We're trying to get to know Trey here, okay? Yep. So, Trey, first question for you. I'm reading right off my phone here. What do you enjoy doing more, Golic and Wingo or NFL Live?
Well, I have to be honest. As Mike alluded to, we've been doing this for a month. Right? Mm-hmm. I've done NFL Live for 15 years. It's been when the show started, it was NFL Tonight before that, and then it became NFL Live, and we started in July, actually, of 2003. Golic was on the first show ever with me on that. I guess I would have to say NFL Live is sort of in my DNA. I'm sort of transferring that to here. So if I'm being honest, I would have to say at this point, NFL Live still has a very special place in my heart.
So you're going NFL Live
for the moment.
Wow.
For the moment.
Stu, what are you doing for the next 3 years, Stu?
Can you get up here? I'm being honest. I mean, it's wired in. Eventually, this will be the greatest thing I've ever done.
Whatever.
At ESPN, but right now, that's my baby.
All right, we asked for honesty. Okay, all right, that's good.
Mike, I got to give him credit because had Trey asked me that question and I'm sitting in Trey's seat and he's sitting in mine, I absolutely would have lied. I would have lied. Okay, and then if they asked me on NFL Live, which one I enjoy doing more, I would have told the NFL Live people I like doing NFL Live more. So that's it. I mean, listen, he's being honest. I'm proud of you, Trey. It's a good job, buddy. Are you nervous now? Like Golic's angry. Are you nervous?
Yeah, well, I make him angry every day. My goal is just to not get beat up on every show. So,
all right, what's next?
All right, Trey. Trey, you know the answer for this one. If you were to ask me, you know what my answer would be. So, but I'll ask you because we both love golf. Have you ever cheated playing golf?
In a match, no, but like around with my guys, absolutely. Foot wedge, sand wedge. You don't understand. Playing golf with Herm is the greatest thing in the world because he'll hit 37 shots on one hole, and you're just trying to figure out which ones are the ones that he's counting. So we're along the same way. We are a very less than competitive pairing when we're on the golf course. Hey, Rody, that wasn't a good shot. Try it again, and then we'll move on. So absolutely, the foot wedge and the hand wedge has come out.
All right, you should try cheating during a match, okay, Trey? We'll help your chances of winning the money. That's all
true.
I'm saying.
That's true.
And I don't need to ask Golic that question. I know he has cheated.
I can't remember.
Most embarrassing TV moment for Trey Wingo, besides this, by the way.
All right, well, it's like, this is going to take a little while, so bear with me.
Please.
Yeah.
We're getting to know Trey. Take your time. We're getting to know Trey here.
One of my first times doing SportsCenter here was an overnight SportsCenter. The overnight SportsCenter used to run at 1 o'clock on the East Coast, and it would literally rerun all day. So you had to sort of make sure everything was fixed before you put the show to bed. And sometimes the worst thing you wanted to hear was rain in California for a baseball game because you're here for a long time. So anyway, I was doing a SportsCenter when John Daly was coming back and playing at the Players Championship, and he the year before he had really gotten drunk and busted up his hotel room, and it really was a bad situation. But this was a year later. He'd gone through AA and was trying to live sober. And right before he teed off, he got that medallion that AA gives you that signifies you've been clean for a certain amount of time. So I wrote this poignant lead in about what a remarkable turnaround it's been in 12 months. For John Daly, so much turmoil and all these things in his life. But right before he teed off, and I wrote he received his coin signifying 6 months of alcohol-free living. For whatever reason, it came out of my mouth. Right before he teed off, John Daly received his coin signifying 1 year of free alcohol.
Free alcohol. I just got it.
Transpose the words you didn't want to transpose. All the blood rushed out of my face.
Wow.
And as we're into the highlights, I can hear the producer say in my ear, yeah, we're going to need to fix that for the re-air.
Wow.
I thought I was done. I thought that was it. I thought it was over.
Do we think there's a coin that gives us free alcohol? That would be awesome.
Well, yeah, but that's not what they give you from AA.
Yeah, I guess
I want to be clear about that. I transposed the two words you just did not want to transpose. That was bad.
Okay.
That was bad.
All right, we probably got time for one or two more, so pick out the ones you want.
All right, quick. Trey, that was bad, but it was a good story.
Thank you.
Something Golic does daily that annoys you, Trey. Something Golic does daily.
Nothing. I'm not going to say anything. I want to live.
Okay.
Good answer.
All
There you
right, go. Okay. I mean, I just show up, and that annoys Dan every single day. Something you do that you know annoys Golic every day.
Whatever. No, I think like you. I think just showing up sometimes gets him in a bad mood. My goal is just, what is it? Music calms the savage beast. I just want to make sure Cliff plays the right music so Golic doesn't get angry.
There you go.
That's it.
Okay, good. All right, last one, Trey. Last one.
Yeah.
Song that Trey Wingo will sing every single time out loud if it comes on his radio in his car.
Well, I would have to say there's a bunch of those. You know what I mean? I guess one for sure would be really ridiculous. One Headlight by the Wallflowers.
One Headlight by the Wallflowers.
Long story short there, when Chappie was a young kid, every time that song came out, it has this really strong bass beat, and he would just march around the living room dancing to it. We thought it was hilarious. So that would be one of them.
It's actually a nice story.
Tons of those. I mean, I could come up. I'm a singer. Okay, I will sing to almost anything. So, if you're in the car with me, that may be the most annoying thing. If Golic's ever in the car with me, song comes on, I'm wailing. No question.
Wow, okay.
All right, well, I mean, listen, I know Cliff's the star of the show, but Cliff should have had that song ready and should have queued it up, and I wanted to hear Wingo sing some of it, but that's, what can I do?
Good call. Way to go, Cliff. Way to ruin the show.
Yeah. The Cliff is the only thing keeping the show going at this point. All right, Stu, thank you. We appreciate it, my friend.
Have a good holiday.
All right. All right, guys. Happy holidays to you.
Use that hand wedge next time you're out on the golf course.
I use it all the time.
I can't remember a round of golf I played where I haven't done something against the rules.
Well, yeah, but see, there's two kinds of rounds of golf. There's out there what you do, and out there just messing around with your buddies. And then there's a match, and you don't ever want to be called for a rules infraction playing in a match.
Oh, there's no doubt if I was playing in a match, I'd have cheated.
There you go. Well, good for you.
Okay,
there you go. Good job. Coming up, an NFL team that's favored that probably wishes it wasn't, plus DJ Shefty Sheft. Adam Schefter joins us in studio next. Golic and Wingo, ESPN Radio, ESPN2.
Hey everyone, Mike Golic here. Support for the Mike and Mike podcast comes from our friends at Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Chances are you're confident when it comes to your work, your hobbies, your life. Rocket Mortgage gives you that same level of confidence when it comes to buying a home or refinancing your existing home loan. Rocket Mortgage is simple, allowing you to fully understand all the details and be confident you're getting the right mortgage for you. To get started, go to rocketmortgage.com/Mikes. Equal housing lender, licensed in all 50 states, NMLS, consumeraccess.org number 3030.
Computer, execute 12.4p operation.
Optimizing algorithm. Running encryption packet alpha 990. Oh, I don't feel so good.
What is it, computer?
Is it hot in here? It feels hot in here. I feel a little clammy. I should lie down or something.
A computer with a virus? Surprising. What's not surprising? How much you could save by switching to Geico.
Those oysters Rockefeller were a mistake.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
One Headlight. Nice.
Got it. Got your song.
The Wallflowers. By the way, I think the lead singer of this is Bob Dylan's son, Jacob Dylan. Yeah, absolutely. So this was one of the songs, so long ago I don't remember when. That's when I
that you would sing out loud. Stugotz asked you if there was a song that plays in a car, what are you singing?
This would be at One Headlight. By the way, Chelsea, who's home for the holidays, our daughter, just texted in and said, you should have said Hamilton. And that's true. Any Hamilton song that comes on, I'm singing Hamilton. There's no question.
Still haven't seen Hamilton.
What's wrong with you?
I don't fit well in the chairs.
Fair, but it's worth it. You need to go. It's an unbelievable experience.
Got tickets
anyway,
for me?
What?
Got tickets for me?
I'll work right on that.
Won't be going.
Golic and Wingo on ESPN Radio and ESPN2, presented by Progressive Insurance. All phone guests join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. ESPN Insider Extraordinaire Adam Schefter is here with us to give us the Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. Best phones, best networks, no contracts. All right, Shefty, let's start with this. The Bears are favored this weekend under John Fox against the Cleveland Browns in Chicago. The Bears have lost all 7 times they've been favored as the team going into this game. Should they be worried that Cleveland is going to take them down this weekend?
Yeah, they should be worried.
I think so too.
I mean, Cleveland, it's not playing bad football right now. Deshaun Kaiser, despite his confidence being shot,
according to Duke Johnson.
Yeah.
I think he's come on and played pretty well. I think he's shown better than people thought, which is the ironic part of this whole thing is that they invest a third-round pick in Cody Kessler, a second-round pick in Deshaun Kaiser, and they're going to scrap those picks after a couple of years to go take another quarterback, presumably at the top of the draft. They'll have 2 picks in the top 5 or 6 picks to go where they want with certain picks. So, to me, the Browns are a dangerous team. Would you want to be facing Josh Gordon, Corey Coleman, Deshaun Kaiser, Duke Johnson, some offensive weapons right now that can give that offense some explosiveness against an offense that really hasn't done all that much so far this season? I would be concerned with that. I would not want to be that team, the only team that lost to the Cleveland Browns this year.
Well, the other thing that's weird about this, head coach Hugh Jackson is 2-0 on games on Christmas Eve. So go factor that into it. It's just a weird confluence of events.
Along with those and that game, with your report of Marvin Lewis and going to be done at Cincinnati and the name Hugh Jackson, who was at Cincinnati, floating there, the rumors of John Fox it being the end of him in Chicago. Is that kind of where we are now? With a couple of games left, the possibility of some of the changes that are going to happen?
Listen, you get to this time of the year, nothing says holiday cheer quite like talking about the coaching carousel.
Yeah.
I mean, we're going to have the season end on New Year's Day, and there's going to be a rash of firings.
2018 could start off very poorly for a lot of coaches.
Either New Year's Eve or New Year's Day.
Right.
That's going to happen. I mean, that's going to happen. We're going to get, I think, at a minimum, 8 head coaching changes.
And remember, that's all then assistant coaches, and I mean the domino effect is
a lot of upheaval for families.
Yep. Just so people understand, when you say that 8 head,
at least 8.
That's 25% of the league.
Right.
I don't think there's another sport where we see that dramatic of a changeover almost year after year after year, when 1/4 of the head coaches will be changed going into next season.
Well, there are a couple of factors. First of all, if you go back to the turn of the century. The league is
which century?
2000.
Okay, just want to make sure. We've had a couple turns of the century.
Yeah. We've turn of the century. The league has averaged 6.8 head coaching changes per year. And when you typically have a year or two like we've had where there have been lower than that number, and there were 6 last year, I believe,
yep.
It only means you're going to get more the following year. So, I mean, look, you could look down right now and come up in my mind with 6 teams that are no-brainers.
Well, we know one's going to have one because they've already fired their head coach.
There's 6 teams in my mind that you could just pencil in right now.
Which means there's 2 dark horses out there.
And then there's another 7 or 8 teams that I think there's a question.
Mm-hmm.
And of that 7 and 8, there'll be 2 or 3 more.
Right.
And there's usually a surprise, too.
Well, that's the thing. Look, and we don't want to speculate, but there's always that, like, I didn't see that coming higher.
There's always, the fire.
Yeah.
Whoa, they did what? And that happens every year. So, again, if you look at this and you say, well, there's 6 automatics, 6 very likelies, there are 7 to 8 possibilities, and then there's the one that always surprises. So, to me, you're going to get minimum of 8, maybe upwards of 10.
Are we in an era, it changes all the time, of hot assistants? I know there'll be some kind of combination, but what's the hot thing now? The retreads?
Well, I'll say this. What you hear this year more than anything else is, okay, let's just say there are 6 to 10 openings. Mm-hmm. 6 to 10. Where are the assistants coming from? That's what teams have said. I say, look, there are always candidates out there. It's up to these teams to go find them. There are always good coaches available. They may not be as obvious this year as other years, but we could just rattle off the coaches right now. The guys that I think will be in play. You start New England with Josh McDaniels and Matt Patricia. You go to Minnesota and the job Pat Shurmur's done. Matt Nagy in Kansas City. Chris Richard in Seattle. Terrell Austin in Detroit. Jim Schwartz in Philly gets some consideration. John DeFilippo, their quarterback's coach. You also have to have you're going to have the Sean McVay factor.
Yes.
Where teams are going to see a 31-year-old coach going into a franchise that was horrible last year, turning it around 1 year, making it a Super Bowl contender, which is what the Rams really are right now,
yeah.
And wondering why they can't go get a coach that can do the same for their franchise right now. So, again, all these factors together, it's going to be a busy year on the coaching carousel.
No, I'm glad you brought up the Rams because we brought this up earlier, and I don't think people understand enough how significant this is going to be for them, losing the kicker, Greg Zuerlein, for the rest of the season. I mean, this is it. He was on pace to set the record for the most points ever in a single season, topping David Akers of the Eagles in 2011. But not only that, this guy could make it from anywhere, Adam, anywhere.
Greg the Leg, Legatron.
Yep.
You come up with the nickname. The bottom line is he was a major weapon on one of the highest powered offensive teams in the league. Pro Bowl kicker. So he had a back injury, went for an MRI yesterday. The MRI came back, showed what they feared. Sounds like he's got a herniated disc in his back. So he goes on IR. They signed Sam Finken, the former Penn State kicker, who's been with the Chiefs. And the one thing that I think they think is that John Fossil, their special teams coach, can do for kickers what Sean McVay does for quarterbacks. That's the belief that they have in John Fossil. So I think that they're very confident in this coaching staff and that the kicker will rise to the occasion. But basically, you've got a situation here where that's a significant loss.
Yes.
A significant
Huge
loss.
And again, people look at Jared Goff and Todd Gurley, but we've talked about this on NFL Live a lot. Left tackle Andrew Whitworth and Greg Zuerlein, just as important to how well this team has played offensively. Yeah,
really been an addition there. Now what a subtraction for them going forward. The one thing we always tie together, which one of the greatest duos ever of head coach and quarterback is Bill Belichick and Tom Brady. This whole thing with Tom Brady's trainer, Alex Guerrero, or guru, whatever you want to say with him, the
Sage,
TB12,
Oracle,
whatever it is, and wherever this has gone to this guy having an office at the stadium, on the charter flights, on the sidelines, working with players more than Tom, to now having that all taken away. We're just wondering what happened to make this happen, to have Belichick do this, and is it going to drive a wedge between Belichick and Brady?
My understanding is honestly that Bill's done a great job navigating the situation this year. I think there have been some issues like that he's had to deal with, and the way it's been explained to me over and over is that he's done a really good job of getting everything together. And they've been through some things this year, trading Garoppolo. I don't think that they really wanted to do that, but recognized that they had to do that. Now this issue here that's cropped up over the last few weeks and months, Seth Wickersham was the first to document this in his piece on the TB12. If you go back and read his piece, he was the first one to document this issue. And so it's there. It's something. We're going to have to find out what it means. I really don't know what it means right now, but it's something that they've dealt with this season.
I still think, the amateur guess by me is when you hear that he's now treating most of the roster and the headbutting with his philosophy and the medical staff, I just wonder if it just got too out of hand for Bill said, okay, you're done with the team. You got Tom, that's cool, but now, you've taken up too much of the team and we're going to start to separate.
Well, what has always been the mantra from the Patriots? One voice.
Yeah.
Bill Belichick, we're doing this my way, and certainly that lends credence to what you're talking about. You can stick around, right? Because coming up, we heard you had a great baseball guest on your podcast with some interesting things. And I have some questions about where the league goes forward now with this investigation into the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah.
Now that Jerry Richardson has basically said, I'm out.
Yeah.
We'll have all of that when we come back. Golic and Wingo, ESPN Radio, ESPN2.
Blue Moon is brewed with Valencia orange peel and a touch of coriander. It's a creative twist on a Belgian-style wheat ale for a taste that shines brighter. Taste responsibly. Blue Moon Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
Rolling through Golic and Wingo on ESPN Radio and ESPN2. Glad you're with us. Mike Golic and Trey Wingo here. Adam Schefter in studio with us. Adam, lots to get to, but I want to get your take on what happens now with the Carolina Panthers, because Jerry Richardson, after being accused of workplace misconduct, said he's going to sell the team, and then that ratcheted up to, I'm stepping out of day-to-day operations. Tina Beckett is now running the day-to-day operations for the Carolina Panthers. The NFL says it will investigate. But my question to you is, now that he is selling the team, he's not running the day-to-day basis, the NFL investigation, should they find something, can do what to Jerry Richardson?
That's what somebody pointed out to me over the weekend. They said, essentially, he doesn't have to cooperate with the investigation once he sells the team. And once he sells the team, what can they do? Can they fine him? Okay. So they fined him after he sold his team for $2+ billion.
Yeah.
Big deal, right? I mean, you just pay the penalty. They can't suspend him if he doesn't own the team. I guess they could run interference and maybe stand in the way or do something like that. But the fact of the matter is, the league is under it's the league's responsibility to go investigate this because it has to.
And Joe Lockhart says the league will continue the investigation.
And it should and it has to from appearance's sake. But the fact of the matter is, what can you really do? If Jerry Richardson sells this franchise in April and he could make this move quickly, of course he's going to need the league approval. What can the league really do to him once it looks into it? What can it really do?
Nothing. Can't do a thing. He'll make his monster profit for what he bought it for and what he's going to sell it for, and he'll skate out. So, yeah, I don't.
By the way, I'm just curious. I don't even know how this works. let's just say he sold the team, and the league said, we're fining you, I'm just making this up, $5 million.
Yeah. Good luck.
Who are they fining? You mean Jerry?
Yeah.
Yeah, good. Jerry, that's what Jerry said. Good luck collecting that one.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's a very
$5 million.
It's a very weird situation, but it does leave the fact that there will be an NFL team up for sale.
Right.
Terry Pagula bought the Bills a few years ago. That was $1-something billion. Was it 1.6? I think it was
1.4.
1.4 billion. Yeah. When people talk about the NFL being in trouble, if this franchise does go for $2.5 billion, what does that say about people's long-term vision of the NFL?
Well, it says that values are not sagging, and you could take what could be the price for the Carolina Panthers and have bought the Rams and the Bills, and there was another franchise that sold recently, it was the Vikings. You could have bought 3 for the price of what this franchise may wind up costing. So, I mean, listen, the league is at a critical juncture, and there are some real issues that the league has to address, and the league is under attack. But the fact of the matter is, it has done nothing to diminish the value of franchises, which also isn't really a part of the CBA deal. So while the cap goes up incrementally this year, and I think it's supposed to be at $213 million in 2018, the value of franchises goes up even more.
It's amazing. Just amazing. What, especially these owners that have had it for a while and what they bought it for and what they get now. All right. On your podcast, Know Them from Adam, you had Baseball Hall of Famer Reggie Jackson on. That had to be pretty cool. What went on with that one?
Well, you know what? Reggie is a guy that I grew up
Reginald Martinez
Yankees
Jackson
fan. And so I was a huge Reggie Jackson fan back in the day. And one day last year, it was last year, I believe, I was sitting at my desk, Saturday countdown, and my phone rang. And it was a 714 area code. I looked down, and I pick it up. I thought I get prank calls all the time. He said, Adam, this is Reggie Jackson. I'm like, the Reggie Jackson? He said, yeah. And he was calling to talk about a couple of different things, the Steelers, some coaching candidates, wanted some information. And I was just shocked. Like, I was blown away.
He wanted to know about Steelers coaching candidates?
No. Coaching candidates, some Steelers information.
Okay,
We're talking about a variety of NFL stuff. And it was a welcome surprise to hear from Mr. October.
The straw that stirs
so
the drink.
we stayed in touch periodically, and so I just thought, you know what? The Yankees just got Giancarlo Stanton.
Right.
Herm Edwards took a job at his alma mater. He likes Mike Singletary and some of these coaches on the coaching. Let's get him on and just talk about it. And I didn't know where I was going to go, and just ask him a few questions, and Reggie was off and running. Reggie was being Reggie. It was great.
Wow. That's pretty cool.
How do you keep it all straight? Because people obviously he's an NFL insider. That's his go-to strength. But you are a NBA fantasy nut.
Yeah.
I mean, you are. I think you're more into NBA daily fantasy than you are in NFL weekly fantasy.
I love that. I love NBA stuff like that. Yeah. I mean, it's my hobby. It's kind of become my little
take up knitting or something.
Me and Camby, we call it my cigarette break every day. 5 minutes, take a cigarette break.
But
5
you
minutes.
take it further than that because you're doing the sideline reporting. Are you gonna be doing that once the season?
They asked me for a couple of games. I think I know I'm going to be doing March 30th, the Pelicans and the Cavaliers. I'm very excited.
Do you get surprised looks by basketball players who are obviously there are some that are monster football fans, so they
want to
know
come in and
about
talk football. They want to come in and talk, and that was the cool thing. Last year I had the honor of doing 3 games, and you're going through the pregame production meetings with Doris Burke and Jeff Van Gundy, and it was very cool to see these people walk in, and some people really are into it, like Scott Brooks, the Wizards coach.
Yeah.
Had a lot of questions about the Cowboys or whatever it may be, and John Wall walked in, and we're talking football. It's just kind of fun. You know what? It's just stepping out of your comfort zone into an area that's you don't really work. And to me, I think anytime you get to do something outside what is comfortable to you, it's kind of refreshing and invigorating, and that's exactly what that was. And hopefully, I get a chance to do more. Very grateful.
Kind of like this show for you, Wingo.
Exactly.
Yes, very much. I'm invigorated. I'm happy. I'm looking forward to it.
Still waiting for that.
All those things are good. I'm very, very excited. By the way, do you know, obviously, I grew up a Yankees fan and right outside New York in Game 6 of the World Series, 1977. Reggie, 3 home runs, 3 swings.
Pitches.
Do you know the 3 pitchers?
Charlie Huff?
Yes.
Was 1.
Yes.
Bob Welch?
No. Bob Welch would have been a couple years later in 78, actually. But one of the pitchers, his first name does start with a B. Bert Hooton?
Bert Hooton. I should have gotten that.
Bert Hooton.
Knuckleballer?
Yeah, and the one that everyone forgets, Elias Sosa. Elias Sosa.
I wouldn't have gotten that one.
Yeah.
I should have gotten Bert Hooton.
Yeah, the Hooton and Huff people get, but Elias Sosa was the one in the middle. 3 swings, 3 home runs.
Watched it live.
Crazy.
Yeah,
right?
It was incredible. I used to watch all those games as a kid. I watched the Pine Tar game.
No, absolutely. George
Live.
Brett coming. I thought his head was going to explode.
Oh, it was unbelievable.
His head was going to explode.
I could have sat here for the rest of my life and never named those pitchers.
There you go. Congratulations. Hey, see you on NFL Live?
Are you doing it today?
Absolutely.
I look forward to that.
We'll see you there. A new page for a star on the NFL. Go look and we go next.
I won't see either of you.